You need to hear this story.
The young actress, Cassie, had always dreamed of making it big in Hollywood. So when she was cast in a horror film set in an abandoned, eerie house, she was ecstatic. It was her chance to shine, and she was determined to deliver a performance that would leave audiences trembling in their seats. The first day on set was both exciting and nerve-wracking. The crew had transformed the dilapidated house into a nightmarish maze of cobwebs, shadows, and creaky floorboards. As Cassie walked through the set, she marveled at the astonishingly realistic special effects. It was as if the house itself was alive with malevolence. During her first scene, as she screamed in terror while being chased by a masked killer, Cassie couldn't help but feel a shiver run down her spine. It wasn't just the cold atmosphere of the abandoned house. It was something else entirely. She swore she heard faint whispers in her ear, taunting her to be even more frightened, but she brushed it off, attributing it to her nerves. As the days went by, Cassie's unease grew. She would often catch glimpses of black shadows moving around the set, lurking just out of sight. The crew assured her it was all part of the special effects, but she couldn't shake the feeling that something was terribly wrong. It was as if the house itself was trying to tell her a dark secret. During a particularly intense scene, Cassie's terror reached its peak. She was supposed to stumble upon an old dusty diary in the house, and as she opened it, a chilling gust of wind blew through the room, extinguishing all the candles. In the darkness, she could hear the faint, eerie laughter of children. It was a sensation so terrifying that Cassie forgot her lines and screamed genuinely, her fear feeling all too real. The director yelled, "Cut!" and rushed over to Cassie, concerned about her unexpected outburst. She explained the strange occurrences she had been witnessing, but nobody else seemed to have experienced anything out of the ordinary. They all laughed it off as an overactive imagination. However, as the shooting continued, Cassie couldn't shake the feeling that there was more to this house than met the eye. It wasn't just special effects. It was as if the spirits of the past were haunting her every move. She started to research the history of the house and discovered that it had a dark and tragic past. It had been the site of a horrific murder-suicide many years ago, and the restless souls of the victims were said to still wander its halls. Terrified and convinced that the spirits were somehow influencing the production, Cassie confided in the crew. To her surprise, they didn't scoff at her fears. Instead, they decided to bring in a pastor on the last day of shooting. Together, they gathered in the eerie house, and the pastor led a solemn prayer to help calm the disturbed souls that lingered there. As the prayers echoed through the old house, a strange sense of peace seemed to settle over the set. The shadows that had once terrorized Cassie retreated, and the whispers in her ear ceased. It was as if the spirits had finally found their way to rest. When the movie was finally completed and released, it became an instant horror classic. Cassie's performance was praised for its authenticity, and audiences around the world were captivated by the terrifying atmosphere of the abandoned house. Little did they know that some of the horrors they witnessed were not mere special effects, but the remnants of a dark and tragic past, finally put to rest by the prayers of a desperate film crew.